Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Weekly Whatever, our weekly show where we talk about whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Brad.
We are bringing you the deadliest episode, not deadly, that's wrong.
Yeah,
The most dangerous episode of
it's
Survivor,
almost deadly.
episode 4.
Yeah,
Jeff hyped it up. He told us it was going to be serious, and it was serious. I thought he was
it's
just
very
kind of saying like
serious.
it's serious, but
Yeah,
it was pretty
it
serious.
was really intense. We saw
Yeah,
3 people go down, one from each tribe. We saw Caleb actually get medevaced out of the game. He looked really close to
yeah,
uh to knocking on a
like
door. Yeah,
yeah, comatose man. He was
yeah,
almost there.
yeah. And he said in exit interviews like he was out pretty much the whole time that they were working on him.
Wow,
Yeah. Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, so we are going to break down everything that happened in episode 4 and look forward to the coming episodes and what happened in this episode means for those future episodes. Before we do, click the buttons below the video that make the numbers go up. You can tweet at us after the show or during the show. Anything you want. We don't care.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're probably gonna read it. I don't know.
Almost definitely going to read it.
Oh yeah, cool.
All right, let's get into this episode. Normally, I would start with the vote off, but I think that was less interesting.
Definitely less interesting.
So
Slightly interesting at times.
at
Not really though.
times, not as much as the first challenge that we got to pretty much right away in the episode.
Yeah, they they were pressed for time, I guess. So
Yeah, we
they
spent
jumped right
about
in.
half an hour with this challenge and following events. So we start with the challenge. They just had to collect some bags, or they had to dig in some sand,
Dig
which
up some
is
bags.
apparently exhausting.
Really hard.
Yeah.
I, I don't know. I mean, in the end, they would just kind of be like. It looked like they would just search where they were sitting or something. Oh,
Yeah.
it was under me the whole time. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. It just
It,
seemed weird.
it did, especially when they found the first couple bags quickly. Most tribes did. Or I guess, I mean, I think Beauty
I think it was
and
just brain.
I think Brains found the first 2 quickly, and then
Hmm.
were a little slower to find the third. The other tribes found one quickly. It's like, if you can find one, I don't know.
You should
This
go spread out. You
It's
should
gotta,
know how.
yeah, like it's gotta be really tough, obviously, but it's like, I mean, come on, a little bit. It was like 45 minutes. It's like,
Yeah, it's
really,
ridiculously long.
yeah,
And I
um,
get, they're tired, yeah, but we've seen Joe do some shit. Like, come
yeah,
on,
come
guys.
on.
No,
Yeah,
no. It's
no.
fine.
I actually thought Scott would be really good at this because he is massive. Like he could just move dirt, right?
With his trash can bin sized
Ex-
hands.
exactly. Like, wouldn't that be really easy for him?
I
Um,
would have thought so.
all right. We're making a lot of fun of it, but so it was apparently very difficult. They struggled
Yeah.
with it quite a bit. The Brains tribe does finish first, and
Yeah. Like,
after they're
what?
done, yeah,
Again with the
they're
brain
they're smart. They
wrong.
knew where the bags were
They
using
did.
their brains.
They use telepathic abilities.
It's true. And after they finish, Debbie is going down. She's suffering from some heat stroke.
Yeah.
Um, I was I didn't expect that because I we were pretty confident that it was going to be a guy.
But we saw that hand.
Yes. And it was like I didn't think it was going to be Debbie. That was surprising.
Yeah. Didn't seem like the hand would have belonged to her.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They splashed some water on her forehead. She cooled down, and she was all right eventually. But
Yeah, those
it was.
numbers
I was
look good.
surprised that they didn't stop the challenge while that was going on.
Well, they were already finished, so it didn't have any impact on like you know
Right. It just drew Jeff's attention and
yeah.
medical and stuff. I just thought that was something they
He
would
was just like, hey, you're in really good hands. I'm gonna go finish the challenge.
have. Yeah. Although I guess if they did stop the challenge for that, it would have just made the other 2 tribes stay out in the sun longer, which would have been
Mm,
worse.
true.
Um, all right, so the challenge continues. We see Beauty find their last 2 bags, and Caleb's going up. He he said in his exit interviews, like while he was digging, at some point he just stopped sweating, and like he knew at that point he was dehydrated and
Mm,
struggling, but he didn't really feel the heat until after he had finished
the
the
throwing.
challenge. Yeah, the actual rolling of the balls. And so after he finishes, he just collapses off into a corner, the shade. Um,
Yeah, it seemed like a bad place to go,
it was like a
like so
cat
far
just
away
kind of
from
going off on its own to just die.
everyone.
Like that's what I read that as. Oh man. Um
Yeah.
and then that's when it just went insane, right? Like Debbie, they were still kind of looking after Debbie, the medical team, and Jeff. Like, something's going on over here.
There's
Caleb's
a
collapsed.
cameraman looking at it. He
Yeah.
should be yelling.
It's just
Why can't
he's
I
doing a
hear
great
him
job.
calling for medical?
Oh man, that was crazy. And at the same time, Sydney's starting to freak out,
Hmm.
and she's struggling, which was insane. So one from each tribe struggling. Um,
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there weren't more from each tribe? I kind of wonder about that. Like, you think they were just the ones giving it the most, and everyone else is just kind of chilling?
that's interesting. I don't know if there's any reason. Maybe they. I mean, we said coming in that Sydney might be one that struggles because she is so fit
Hmm.
that when she loses that constant fuel every day, that she might break down harder. And Caleb's the same way. Debbie not so much, but so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. I maybe once Sydney starts freaking out, like Jason, just there was no chance of him going down anymore because he was just so focused on her. I don't know if that has anything to do with it either. That is interesting though. That it's just those three. Um, what was going through your head when all that started to go down and Caleb really started to deteriorate really quickly?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I was just surprised at the gravity of it. Like, there was just so much going on, and they were pulling in like every cast or not every crew member on
Yeah,
hand, getting in all the materials and stuff. It was big.
it was
Like,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um,
they got through it. They did what they had to do. It didn't seem like there was any like negligent actions. So
no. I was
yeah.
impressed with how well they handled it. I was impressed with how well Jeff handled it. He's talked about it and how like he how scared he was during that time. But he looked really in control. He did a
Yeah.
good job. So we see Caleb get medevac. He's put on a stretcher and then put on a helicopter, which kind of gave me flashbacks to Scoopin being medevac. I think that's the only thing close
Hmm.
back in Australia when he fell in the fire, but we didn't see a lot of that because the show's changed so much and the camera crew is so good now that they get everything. So this was like really intense
Hmm.
and probably scary because Scoopin was still able to talk to his tribe and stuff, and Caleb was just gone.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The tribe kind of collapsed when they realized he was gone.
Yes, and I want to talk about that. We can talk about that now. Um, does going through something like this, specifically for the beauty tribe, because they had not gone to tribal council, they haven't had to get rid of anybody, they haven't really had to start playing the game yet. But does going through this moment where Jeff is telling them that Caleb's gone and they're all breaking down crying, the three beauty women and Ty, as Nick was over with Caleb and he was doing other stuff, does that moment tighten that group to the point where they will not turn on each other anymore?
Hmm. That's an interesting point. It certainly could. Yeah, I could see that.
And in
I
that
mean,
same
if going into a merge scenario, I would say absolutely. It almost definitely would.
right,
But going into a swap where you're isolated now from your people,
potentially.
it less. I'm feeling like it's less likely
Okay.
because there you have to survive with a new group of people, and you have to talk to them, deal with them, and form some sub alliances in that group
Right.
to continue and make it to the merge. So I could see it potentially getting fuzzed
Right.
with that.
I think In the same vein, and you're right, the swap could mess things up. So it depends on where the numbers fall. And interestingly, now the numbers will fall 7 for one tribe and 6 for another tribe.
Mm.
Um, but I think the same thing could happen, or a similar thing with the Beta tribe could happen with the Braun tribe in Jason, Sydney, and Scott. The remaining three could be very tight, and especially Jason, like Sydney was struggling, she was kind of panicking and freaking out, and Jason was the one comforting her. He was right there with her. I think that moment could be really uh, important in solidifying that group, that tight three,
Yeah.
uh, moving forward.
Yeah, that's definitely a tight three. Like to go through uh
Ordeal.
yeah, like the past few tribals they've had, you definitely end up with a strong core by
Yeah,
the end of it.
it's the Matt
So,
Singh. It's the Malcolm and Denise uh tribe.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yes. Um. All right. So we saw Alicia go home this episode.
Yes.
Now, do you think? And we saw in the immunity challenge, Alicia was on the puzzle with Sydney. They got to the puzzle pretty quick. I think they were totally
Yeah.
in it. Do you think they threw the challenge in that they would not swap out for Alicia when she asked to swap out?
Yeah, that makes sense. Does it make sense as a thing to do? Yeah, probably. With the way that they've been treating her and the way like she will immediately flip as soon as she's out of merge.
Yes.
So like
She
there's
said that. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean she should. Like there's no reason for her to stay with them,
No.
obviously. So yeah. Um with them it's like I don't even care. Like it was just a bad group. Like they just couldn't get along.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't ever gonna work itself out. So
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Scott and Jason interact with a different group of people
yeah.
because they got a lot of heat from this episode for how they treated Alicia and for all the whole season so far. They've gotten a lot of heat. Um, and we saw that one argument after the first challenge where Caleb went down. That Scott was arguing that Alicia was being a cheerleader and she was going at him. She was really instigating that whole thing, and she was right in that you should try to stay positive, and Scott just saying no to anything she had to say. She's wrong, and I mean I get it. She's right in that moment, but in the dynamics of the tribe, no matter what she said is wrong. That's just how it was gonna be, and I it sucks for her, but it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how Scott and Jason are moving forward.
I'm trying to think like who they could end up with that would end up I guess anyone from the beauty tribe really could end up
Potentially,
being like a target of their ire.
it could be. Yeah. Um. People is it just general fans are suggesting that it's just because Alicia's a woman, which I think doesn't make sense because Sydney is also a woman and Jennifer was also a woman and they were aligned with her until she went insane. Um. So I don't think that's necessarily it. I think
I don't think
Ali-
it's a woman thing.
I
Yeah.
no, I think Alicia was probably just really annoying, just really hard to live with. And we saw Jennifer really snap at her as well. Like it wasn't just Scott and Jason. I think they're just more blunt, and they just kind of got fed up with her.
You got to hear Jeff's rationale as to why she was in the Braun tribe, and I was like, really?
Yeah, it's because she
That?
doesn't take lip from anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's garbage. That's so
Oh no.
yes, that's why you're on the Braun tribe, and that's also why you're being voted out. Like
Yeah.
it's not a good quality.
Mm.
Um, all right. What else did I have about Alicia?
Actually, I kind of let's
Oh,
finish up with Alicia, and then I wanted to jump back to the challenge.
okay.
The
The medevac challenge.
yeah.
All right. Um, I got nothing. Let's go back.
Okay. Um, do you think that this will impact design of challenges? Like, do you think they're gonna have to take things into consideration that they maybe haven't,
I th-
or do you think it's just kind of it was a one-off? It was really hot that day. Try not to.
yeah, I think this is a this is more of a location problem than it was a challenge problem. I think
Mm,
it's just Cambodia is so hot, and um they have people that test the challenge beforehand. They have the dream team that tests the challenge. I think that group probably didn't find it too difficult, and
but they were probably drinking a lot of water.
well, they're always drinking a lot. There's a lot of challenges in the past that they've had where, like the one where you have to slowly build the staircase, go back down, bring one plank of wood, and
Yeah,
you're that thing. Like in
that's a
Rob's
good
season.
example of.
Yes, that one they said the dream team even struggled with. So that's one that they knew was going to be really tough, and it was really tough. This I imagine probably wasn't that difficult. I think if anything, what this might do, and I think we might have already seen the effect of it in season 31, which out of order, yeah.
Mm,
I think it might just speak to, or it might influence how Survivor, from production side, um, tries to help the survivors not suffer.
yeah,
Like
the fancy new tribe or camp that they
exactly,
got.
yeah. I think just because we don't want to see them suffer. We don't want it to be easy, but we don't want to see them suffer or potentially die. Um,
Yeah, that's a no-no.
yeah, and yeah, from the challenge, I think they could run this challenge again in a different location. I don't think we'd see a problem,
Mm.
but potentially, I just
And
don't think so.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Then my other question: how soon do you think it'll be until we see Caleb play again? Like next season, season
Yeah,
after?
like I think they want him out immediately. I was gonna ask that, like, what are the odds we see Caleb again? Is it 100 or like 110? Um, yeah, so I think they could bring him back. I think they want him back as soon as possible. I think they should do a fans versus favorites again. They did one in 16. They did one in 26. 36 is a good number,
Yeah.
so they could do it then.
Huh.
But they'll bring him back real soon. I also think that's why he got a really good at it. They're
Mm.
like, we want Caleb to come back. Hey guys, guess what? He wants to come back. Isn't he a great guy? Here's Caleb. Like, um, I do want to know, what is your impression of Caleb? You didn't watch Big Brother. You never saw all that. So
Yeah.
just from the show, what do you think of Caleb?
I mean, he seems like a nice guy. He seems like he's able to interact with everyone. He's physical in challenges. Can't really say a whole ton because they never went to tribal. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And it is tough because he didn't go to tribal, but how far do you think he goes in the game if he gets to actually play?
Uh, he
Can he
might have
win?
trouble post merge because he's a huge dude,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. He's probably around
possible.
a merge boot. Yeah. Um and this I talked about it a long time ago, probably on the show. I don't know if I ever did on the show, but I knew Caleb was going to be medevaced at some point. I had been spoiled by that before
Oh,
season 31 even started. It was on the Survivor
I did
subreddit,
not.
and I was
Oh,
so eager for any Survivor news. I don't know why I read it. It was stupid. I knew he got medevac. I didn't know when. Um, so I knew he was not gonna make it.
huh.
And so as soon as this is like, yeah, episode 4 is crazy, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then I was like, okay, it's definitely a dude. Uh, and then the challenge is going. I was like, yeah, Caleb's probably going home. I knew it was like heat stroke or exhaustion or whatever it was. So it's too bad.
Yeah.
But um, it I'm curious as to how Caleb was out there overall, because I think we probably saw a very positive side to his edit, so that we would like him and want him back. And I do think he maybe deserves a shot to play. He will never win the game, but uh, and especially if he goes back and plays with returning players, I think he's in a lot of trouble. But I'm curious as to whether or not he was still kind of a goofball and not really that great at Survivor, because
Mm,
like Big Brother.
yeah.
All right. I have a question about, well, just about everybody in general moving forward. We have the swap coming up,
Yes.
and I think, and this can lead into the MVC and the LVC, but I think, um, the Braun tribe, they are down in numbers, and the swap is gonna bring a tribe of 7, a tribe of 6. There's no way they're gonna have any advantage in that. Depending on how it breaks down, I could see Jason in a really good spot, especially after his comments after the medevac and Jeff's talking to everybody. And he asked Jason, "Could you like after seeing someone go through this, could you still vote them out?" And he says, after Sydney went down, it was all about her. The game doesn't matter. It's just about her safety. In front of everybody, I'm like, that's incredible. We go through the episode. Alicia gets voted out. He is off scot-free. No, not Scott Pollard. He's off scot-free. He has the idol, and nobody outside the Braun tribe knows about it now. I think
Yeah,
he's in a great fucking spot.
it's true.
Yeah.
Huh. So idols in play are his,
Yep.
Ty's.
Yep.
Who knows about Ty's? Just Ty.
Just Ty.
And Brain doesn't have one yet?
Right.
So weird. Why is no one on the ball on Brain? So I guess that means they're definitely going to use that camp and then one of the other two. Probably not the Braun camp.
Right. I think the Braun tribe has the Angkor beach from last season, which was the third
Really?
tribe, which is the bad beach, I think.
Oh.
I think they have that beach.
Hmm.
It's either them or Beauty. So I would expect that they go to the Brain and whatever tribe has the non-Angkor beach.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question then. What do you think are the chances that Jason and Ty form an unholy union and make a super idol?
um 0. I mean, unless Jason just kills Ty and then takes his idol, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. That's what
Uh,
I do.
yeah, I kind of hope they're on the same beach because I'd like to see how they interact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't, I don't see how they get along. But I didn't see how Caleb and Ty would get along. So
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe Ty can get along with anybody. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So who's safest going into a shuffle right now? Anyone with an idol is super safe.
Yep.
It really depends on the number breakdown though. Like if you're in a minority, then you're less
It
safe.
does. But I think Jason's in a good spot. Even like he has an idol, so yeah, but I think he's probably in a good spot. Sydney, probably in a really good spot. I think the Braun tribe, all three of them. Maybe Scott not as much. Just because he's huge.
Yeah.
Like the only way I could see it really going horribly if the tribe breakdown ends up being like 4 Beauty and 3 Braun, because then they have no options.
That would be bad.
It would be terrible. Yeah,
Extremely unlikely.
very. Yeah, and then that would just leave 5 brains and 5 brains and a Beauty. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I think. Okay, who, based on what we've seen so far, including like the edit and all those things, who in your mind are the front runners to go really deep or win the game?
Hmm. I'm still really impressed by Debbie.
I agree with that.
I'm still holding out hope for Neil because I haven't seen anything to indicate otherwise.
Okay.
I can see Ty going just floating under the radar, and then when he needs it, playing that idol and just being like, "By the way, I'm
Yeah.
safe," and
Like,
then it's Final Four.
and then he gets voted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one's gonna sit next to Ty at the end. Yeah. Um, yeah, I agree with those. I think Jason's gonna be there just based on the edit.
Yeah,
I don't think Neil's gonna be there based on the edit, just because he's been kind of
he's
invisible.
barely been in it.
I've
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that I didn't like from him really, but I think he's a seventh place guy. So that's my guess. Um,
Um,
Anna, the poker player, seems to be the front runner there for the beauty women.
beauty.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can you name the other two beauty women without looking at notes or anything?
No. Yeah, no.
Me neither. I had to look it up. Julia and Michelle are their names.
Mm,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. That's why I feel like Anna's probably doing okay because she's the only one that we really know about. Um, all right.
All right. So most valuable castaway now. This is really coveted award, as we've said.
Yep.
Gonna base it this week on what we had to go on, which was not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think I'm gonna give it to FBI guy, whose name I can't remember, just because he called in medical for Debbie, and like that was a smart thing to do. Yeah,
Joseph Del Campo.
yeah.
Wow.
That's all I
All right. I will not agree with that,
got.
though that is amusing. Uh, Based solely on where they are in the game,
Hmm.
I think I would give it to not Scott, Jason, because
Shock.
Alicia's not in the game anymore.
It's true.
He has an idol,
Yes.
and like he's basically just he got away with it. Like that whole tribe got away. They shouldn't have. Um,
Yeah.
but that's my nomination. If you disagree, you're welcome to it. But
No, I think I'm okay.
just based solely on the position that they're in the game
Reasonable. Yeah.
now. You could say Sydney potentially because I think who's going to go after Sydney unless the numbers were really not in her favor.
Yeah.
But I think just because Jason has the idol as well. That's my
Makes
personal
sense.
opinion. Or we can give it to Probst and the medical team.
That's nice. Yeah. No.
No, all right, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Least valuable. There's just nothing to say really. Like I don't know who.
yeah,
Nobody's screwed up.
no,
Really.
I can't say Alicia because I think I respected that she didn't want to do tribal right after losing the immunity challenge. She
Yeah.
wanted to go back and try. We never saw anything back at camp,
No.
but
But I mean, yeah, she
yeah,
stuck up for herself. That was
yeah,
good.
she did. She doesn't take lip for anyone. That's
It's true.
Braun in my
Like she's
book.
a
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so it won't be her. Scott? Like he's almost the MVC because he's just in a decent spot now that Alicia's gone, but he doesn't have an eye. Like I don't know,
Mm,
man. I don't got much here.
I don't know. Maybe like Nick for not really being with his tribe when
I think he
they were
was
all
holding
sad.
Caleb's legs up. Not at
Oh,
the time that
well, that's
Jeff
an
was giving the news, but because I think Caleb was already on a stretcher at that point. But I think that's what he was doing. He was holding somebody's legs up. I don't know if he just like tackled a dude and then
These
just
are
grabbed
mine.
his
Yeah.
legs. um,
Ah,
I don't know. That's
yeah.
actually this is. I mean, I don't know. Does it make sense to give it to Scott? Is he in a? I mean,
Sure.
he's not in a bad spot. He didn't really have a bad. He didn't have a great episode from a social game perspective. But then Alicia got voted out, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You could say no one.
Fuck
I'm
it.
okay with
No one. No one is
this
the
too.
least valuable.
Yeah, you're all equally
Yeah.
displeasing.
Give it to Aubrey just because. Fuck off. Which is me, because she's been fine. She's been totally fine. She's in the numbers. Oh, man. She's buddied up with Neil. She's going
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, she's going places.
Yeah. To
Social
the
media.
ice cream shop. Yeah. All right, we'll give it to nobody.
Yeah.
Um, Were you surprised that they didn't do a swap after losing Caleb? Because then
I
it would
kind of,
have
yeah,
been
I thought that was
7-7.
gonna be just the bow on it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, bad things went down, but you don't have to go to tribal, and now here, drop your buffs. Because,
Yeah. I thought that. I mean, maybe it was just a timing thing. Like they don't want to swap and then just end an episode. I don't know. This episode really could have done to be a 90-minute thing.
yeah,
There was a lot there. And then swap and then boot. I don't know. I was surprised. And now we're at a 7-6, so it's weird.
Hmm.
Very weird.
yeah,
Yep. That's all I got.
yeah, me too.
We have a tribe swap coming up. We've talked about that a
Ready?
lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're going to make potentially new winner picks after the next episode,
yes, that'll be
after
fun.
we see the tribe swap. Yeah. That was a pretty crazy episode.
It was.
It was unique.
Tear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say the last time I've seen like crew people on the show.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. Just came running out of the woodwork. It's pretty wild.
Mm,
All right. I think we nailed it.
I think so too.
Fucking nailed it. So thank you so much for watching. We will be back to recap episode 5 shortly.
Less blood, probably. There was no blood in this one.
There wasn't really blood. There was a lot of almost dying.
There was some blood when they put the IV in.
That's true.
Caleb.
Yep.
It's kind of gnarly when they set that thing. I don't know. It's kind of shooting out of him.
It was. Yep. They just jammed it right in there. All right. They did say that this is going to be like the most punishing season to date, so we might not be done.
Yeah,
There could be more medevacs coming up.
I think they would have been overselling it if this was it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have just been one day, one challenge. Otherwise, my money's still on Joseph Del Campo, 7-year-old, just going down at some point. He's been invisible this season. It's been crazy. All right. We're done here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit the numbers below the video that make numbers go up. Press the buttons that make numbers go up. Fucking nailed it. Tweet at us what you thought of the episode, what you thought of this video, and your own MVCs and LVCs if you have one, because we couldn't come up with one. Until then,
it can be us if you want. Maybe least valuable castaways for not coming up with the least valuable castaway.
That's true.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Mostly Chris. I came up with the MVP. See. All right, we're out. We'll be back to recap episode 5. Until then, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.